What is going on to all my TV fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new Amazon Prime TV review, and today we're discussing the first 2 episodes of the new mystery thriller by the name of Outer Range, which will be premiering on Amazon Prime on April 15th. I got the opportunity to check out these 2 episodes early, and I am beyond excited to share my thoughts with you all. And by the end of this review, I'm going to let you all know why I believe this is a must-see TV show. We're going to discuss that and so much more, all in this spoiler-free review. Before we get into the details, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel and love early movie reviews, TV breakdowns, and live streams, well, come and join the community today by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. And as you all can see on the screen now, if you enjoyed this TV review of the first 2 episodes of Outer Range, well, make sure you're liking the review and also sharing it. But more importantly, in the comments, let's talk about this new series. Have you ever heard of it? Were you excited for it? But more importantly, once you've seen episode 1, episode 2, what did you all think? From the performances, the actual story at hand, the intrigue of the show, the mystery, the supernatural. Do you want to continue to watch this? But also, do you want me to cover this on a week-to-week basis? Let's talk about all that in the comments below. So for me personally, I had this show circled on my calendar a couple months ago. As you all know, if you're a part of this community, every single week I do a breakdown of all the new releases for movies and shows, and this was definitely one that I had circled on my calendar. So excited to be talking about it. And again, this is a spoiler-free review talking about episodes 1 and 2, performances, story, intrigue. Do I recommend it? That's what we're going to be tackling in this review. So with all that being said, if you aren't too familiar with this show, what is Outer Range all about? Well, let me explain it to you all. Outer Range follows Royal Abbott, a Wyoming rancher who becomes involved in a supernatural mystery following the arrival of Autumn, a drifter with a connection to Abbott's ranch. Now, the show is led by Josh Brolin, Lily Tyler, Tom Pelphrey, Imogen Poots, and Lewis Pullman. So getting into my thoughts on episode 1, which was titled The Void, this is when we're introduced to our main family, the Abbott family, led by Royal Abbott, played by Josh Brolin. Now, just a quick side note, I'm a big fan of Josh Brolin, whether it's The Goonies, obviously he's played in so many other great roles, other movies, you know, your Thanoses of the world, him collaborating with Denis Villeneuve, most recently in Dune, but in particularly in the Western genre, he is just fantastic in Westerns, whether it's No Country for Old Men or True Grit. We're not going to talk about Jonah Hex, but he's such a great actor. This is his first TV role in over 20 plus years, and I'm telling you all, if you're a fan of Josh Brolin, he's so great in these first 2 episodes. But just getting into his character backstory without giving too much away, we learn within this first episode that Royal Abbott is a family man. He loves his family. He's dedicated to his family. He's determined to keep them safe, keep them together, and he's also trying to keep this family ranch afloat because financially, let's just say they've seen better days. But it's within this first episode, you get all that backstory, you see his family dynamic, but here's where the supernatural, the sci-fi elements come up very early in the episode. He's doing his day-to-day cattle ranch routine that he does every single morning, and he comes across this gigantic, just huge void of a hole on the edge of his property. And then right away, you're like, okay, what is that? Now you see this in the trailer and you get a little bit of the nature of what's going on with this first episode without giving too much away. But that's one element that just immediately hooked me. What's going on with this hole? But then the other elements of this first episode, seeing the family dynamic, seeing again, the cattle ranch is not doing good financially. We meet the other family members of the Abbott family. We have Cecilia, the wife. We have the 2 older sons. We have Root, who is a bull rider who has his own demons that he's tackling with. We also have Tom Pelphrey, who plays Perry, who is the oldest son, and this is another fantastic, engaging element about the show. Not only are we talking supernatural, sci-fi stuff with the hole and the edge of the property, but we have a more grounded issue at hand where, again, not giving too much away, and there's really not a lot of information given away in this first episode. We see that Perry's suffering through something. He is a father, he's a husband, but here's the thing, his wife has gone missing. Now, we don't know details around the missing element, but there's an element that it's like, okay, what's going on there? And then add on the other things that this first episode throws at you, whether it is meeting this rivalry family, this rich family led by a gentleman by the name of Wayne, who wants to take over more of the land of this area. In particular, he wants to take over some of the Abbott's land. So again, whether it's the sci-fi stuff with the whole, the missing wife, this rivalry across the way of this richer family that wants to take over the land. I'm just like, yo, this show is just giving me all these little elements that kind of makes me gravitate towards this, gravitate towards that. And I was just immediately fascinated. I was so engaged with this first episode. Immediately, it was giving me shades of Damien Lindelof's projects, whether it's Lost and The Leftovers, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. There's some Twin Peaks going on in this show. It's just so engaging, so mysterious, and I really enjoyed the element of surprise that this first episode gives you, as well as when you give me a Western, a family drama, sci-fi. I mean, come on. This is just checking off all the boxes for me personally, and I hope you all feel the same when you watch this first episode, which getting back into these performances, they were so compelling and just extremely captivating. There's this cinematic nature about how they're shooting the show, and the atmosphere and the tension. It's all there in the forefront, and I thought it was just masterfully directed in this first episode. And again, it's incredible tension. The mystery, the whole is just so fascinating. What happens to the wife? What's going on with Royal's backstory as a kid? What's the deal with Imogen Poots' character, who is easily the most mysterious character of the show? Her name is Autumn. What's going on with her? This first episode does such a great job of just leaving me and left me on the edge of my seat. And I just have to say, for me, for someone that watched a lot of TV, this was one of the most engaging premiere episodes that I have seen in a very long time. You felt that these characters were lived in. You got to get a sense of their past. Again, there's more to explore with these characters, but it feels so authentic in their performances, and I absolutely love this first episode. And by the time I was done with episode 1, I said to myself, if they keep this up, this might be one of my favorite shows of this year, and that's some really high praise because we got some fantastic show early of this 2022 calendar year. But episode 1, absolutely fantastic. Let me know what you all thought about your initial impressions after you got done with episode 1. As you can see, I loved it, and based on episode 1, yes, watch this show ASAP. But let's talk about this second episode, which was titled The Land. Now, after, without giving it away, there's something very shocking that happens at the end of episode 1, which was the hook. It's the cliffhanger that keeps you there, and I mean, it is a shocking cliffhanger. We transition into what I think makes a great TV show. Okay, we got the exciting incident that happens in episode 1. We learn a little bit of backstory that gives me intrigue. But what's the other people? What's their other stories? Because I think a great show is just as good of a show based on the supporting characters, because you can't just have one main narrative. You got to keep the world building. You have to have the other characters be just as interesting as the main incident at hand. And this is where we get more of those supporting characters and those secondary plots. Like, for example, we get more about the deputy of the town, and it is Joy, who is a temporary deputy who's trying to run for the full-time position. She's openly gay. She's dealing with the case of the missing wife, and also there's something that happens in episode 1 that she kind of gets thrown into. You get more time with Lily Taylor's character, who plays Cecilia Abbott, the wife of the household, the mother of the household, and I love Lily Taylor. She's great in this show. We spend more time with the younger son, Rhett, who's trying to rekindle this kind of childhood, teenage love affair with a character named Maria, and this is where we also get more of Wayne's character, the rivalry, the main family that's trying to take over the land of the Abbott family, and you get a little bit of sense of who he is. He's kind of the quote-unquote bad guy of the show, and that's played by Will Patton, who's also not a lot of screen time, but when he's on the screen, he kept me interested, he kept me engaged. He's very menacing of a certain extent, so I really enjoy all the other elements and all the different plot B, plot C, and all the supporting characters that we get within this second episode. Getting back into one of the things that was very fascinating about episode 2, I mentioned Imogen Poots, who is such a fantastic up-and-coming actress. Everything I've seen her in, she has just been golden, but she plays a character named Autumn. Now, Autumn is extremely mysterious. She's just as mysterious as the hole in the ground. She is a drifter who is on the Abbott's ranch, who's just out to just enjoy the nature. She is a palm writer, and she's trying to find some inspiration, so she says. And it's in this second episode that we start to get a little bit more of the, okay, what is she into? What is her calling in life as she kind of relates to these symbols that ties into the Abbott Ranch family, and more particularly her connection to a lead character, Royal Abbott, which again, when you see the first episode, you're like, wait, they have some interesting connections with their childhood. I'll just kind of leave it at that, but I'm very intrigued by Imogen Poots as Autumn because she is really great in the show. She does something in the first episode that's very fascinating. When she learns about something in the second episode, you're like, okay, there's definitely a connection there. More importantly, the questions at hand is the connections, the ties, and there's also a theme of an undertone of religion that the show tackles. And in particularly, we have our main character, Josh Brolin, is not a fan of God. He's not very religious, and he has this monologue in episode 2, which just goes to show you again how phenomenal Josh Brolin is, but also goes to show you this show is definitely tied into, is this fate? Is this meant to be? Is this destiny? Does it involve the Greek gods? And it does it involve something even more extraterrestrial? That's what we kind of get into in this second episode, which again just kept me on the edge of my seat. And speaking of edge of my seat, just to wrap up my thoughts of episode 2, we get another cliffhanger, no details whatsoever, but the cliffhanger in episode 2 ties directly into what happens in episode 1. And let's just say, I'm very excited because it opens up the future of what we can expect to potentially see in this fascinating mystery, thriller, Western family drama, which I just thought the first 2 episodes were fantastic. I loved them. The performances were great. Again, the cinematic nature to the show, this Western vibe to the show, and again, just the mystery box of where's the wife, what's going on with Imogen Poots as Autumn, what's going on with Royal's backstory, him as a kid, how are they going to end up getting themselves out of this particular situation that we find out in episode 1. And that's just one of many other great mysteries that the show has to offer, and I'm all here for it. I really thoroughly enjoyed these first 2 episodes, and like I said, I highly recommend you all give it a watch. And when you do, let me know your pros, your cons, your thoughts or theories of what's potentially going on, especially after episode 2. And of course, the biggest question I have for you all, if you all enjoyed this show, do you want me to cover this on a week-to-week basis? Because every other week, we got the first 2 episodes, and then all the way up to May 6th, they're going to release 2 episodes every single week. So do you want me to do a breakdown on this show? Let me know by liking this video, sharing this video, and leaving your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all for watching this review. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you all are staying safe. As you all can see on the screen now, subscribe to my channel. Come and join the community. Check out my other content. We'll catch you all on the next video.